So today's session is going to be packed. We have a lot to uncover. Like Jeffrey said a couple of weeks ago at Ignite, we completely transformed what was a PVA, Power Virtual Agent, and we took it to the next level and is now what we called Copilot Studio. So we're going to talk about what is Copilot Studio versus Power Virtual Agent, what's new, what's inside the studio, how do we build with it, and what can we customize with that studio? Because we'll see that Copilot Studio is not just a standalone product by itself. It can extend other Microsoft products. One of the questions that we had internally from the right at the beginning when this was announced was, is it still part of the Power Platform? Because we are dropping the Power name from it. Yes, Copilot Studio is still part of the Power Platform. You will still be able to build chatbots and conversational AI with it, but much more. So don't worry, you're not losing a tool from the Power Platform. It still is in the Power Platform. All right, so let's dive in. But first, we have a few questions for you today to get your interest and maybe get your feedback. David here is going to post a first question in the chat. Is any of you or in your company already using a chatbot or a copilot? Maybe internally, for employee, we do have an internal chatbot at Microsoft for HR purpose, for example. Or externally, you have a website, you put a chatbot on your website, or maybe both. So tell us in the poll. We are curious to know if some of you are already using that technology. All right, while everybody's answering that, I'm going to start and dive into our main topic, the Microsoft Copilot ecosystem. Because if you were at Ignite, we didn't just talk about one Copilot. But before we go into that full ecosystem, the first question that comes to mind is, what's a Copilot versus what's a chatbot? So a chatbot historically was just a conversational experience based on text that is grounded on an API where we have pre-built topics. It's on a website, but it's very siloed. And at best, it can hold the context of the conversation. So that was historically a chatbot. Now we are moving to Copilot. So it's not just text anymore. We have videos, HTML, images, links. We can ground our Copilot to multiple data sources, not just one API. We have generative AI that can take content and answer the user question, even though we didn't script that answer. This Copilot is aware of its context, if it's on a website or if it's on an app, if it's connected to a particular data source. So the Copilot knows what is the context. The Copilot in Word knows that you're in Word. The Copilot in PowerPoint is aware as well. And finally, those Copilots need to be flexible enough so that you can configure the experience. So we have many Copilots in Dynamics, in the Power Platform. I'm sure some of you have already used some of those Copilots. And one of the latest one that we announced at Ignite or a bit before was the Copilot for M365. And at Ignite, we announced something that is very important, is we need to be able to do more with our M365 Copilot. We want to control that Copilot. We want to extend that Copilot, maybe connected to some particular business process. And maybe we want to build our own Copilot because the one that comes pre-built is great, but what if it doesn't answer all the questions? And once I've created my Copilot or customized my Copilot, I want to be able to manage all of those Copilots in one central place. So all that feedback was taken into account, and that's when Microsoft announced the Microsoft Copilot Studio. So it's more than a chatbot, it's more than conversational AI. It's the ability to customize first-party Copilot, like M365 Copilot, Power Platform Copilot, or other one that we're going to talk. Build your own Copilots, connecting this Copilot to your knowledge base, to your data source, and finally being able to manage all of those Copilots in a central way. All right, the video got triggered before I introduced it, saying I'm going to show you a quick video to illustrate what Microsoft Copilot Studio is in action. Anyway, you got the point of the video. Now I want to dive a little bit deeper into Microsoft Copilot Studio. So right there in that video, the main focus is how you can customize Microsoft Copilot. So extend the first-party Copilot, M365 Copilot, Power Platform Copilot, Copilot for Service, Copilot for Sales, all of those Copilot. So you can essentially create custom topics, create plugins, connect them, and publish them to your Copilot. You can still build your own Copilot like you were able to do before with Power Virtual Agent, but the main feature that is in the core of Copilot Studio is to be able to extend all the rest of the ecosystem of Copilot. So if we go to the Copilot and the conversational AI at Microsoft, you can see that at the top, we have our first-party Copilot from M365 Sales Copilot to custom Copilot that you may create. All of that now is part of Microsoft Copilot Studio. You can extend and customize all of those Copilot that you see at the top and build your own Copilot with that tool. And that tool sits on the same backend that we had with Power Virtual Agent and more. Now we have access to dedicated connector. We have specific access for AI Builder. We can customize the prompt. We can customize the tone of our Copilot. We'll dive into that during the presentation this morning. So let's take a step back at what the Copilot stack is. So first, it starts with AI infrastructure and foundational model. None of what we've built with Copilot would be possible without a solid AI infrastructure and GPT models. We all know that Microsoft is a big contributor to OpenAI. In exchange, we get benefit of those large language model that sits in Azure. So with those large language model and customer data, we are able to ask questions and get answer with what we call AI orchestration. So all of that is included into the Copilot stack. And then at the top, then we surface that Q&A, that answer, that conversational AI into different places in Microsoft App, in Microsoft Copilot, and in your own custom Copilot. And of course, all of that is surrounded by AI safety and security, because that's the first thing that we want to tell our customer when they start using large language model or GPT model or OpenAI. When you use the Copilot stack, you use OpenAI in Azure. So it's a specific enterprise version of OpenAI that is designed around safety and security. So your data stays your data, nothing goes out of your tenant, and you are controlled by your enterprise-grade security. Copilot Studio, it's an end-to-end building platform. So we have world-class UX, logic and automation. We'll dive into that with the Power Automate and the Automation Studio. We can connect to the rest of the Power Platform and Azure. We have full application lifecycle management and great security and governance. So all of that is included into Copilot Studio. The first thing that Copilot Studio is known for, and historically that was PVA, is to build your custom Copilot. So like I said, before it was called Power Virtual Agent, now it's called Copilot Studio. So you can generate conversation, have a natural language, and dynamically complete complex task. So what's in Copilot Studio? If you've seen that slide before, you will notice that there is one major difference now in Copilot Building Studio. It's the plugin. So in the workspace, we used to have generative AI, different channel, analytics, and insight. But now we have a new feature that is called plugin. That's what we use to extend Copilots around the Microsoft stacks. And I'll deep dive around what a plugin is and what a plugin can do a little bit later. The rest of the Copilot Studio ecosystem stays very similar to what used to be Power Virtual Agent. You have a building studio with advanced capabilities that are pro code and low code at the same time. That's what we called the building studio, or new Canvas studio. Then we have our Automation Studio, where you can build automation with 1,000+ pre-built and custom data connector. And finally, the same admin that you have around the Power Platform also governs the Copilot Studio as well. Another big change into the channel where we can publish our Copilot, you can see on the screen, is that now you have that new channel, the Microsoft Copilot channel. So you are able to extend and those first-party Copilots on top of all the other existing channels that we had before with Power Virtual Agent. And Copilot Studio also comes with new capabilities to integrate with voice. We are now even, it's now even easier to integrate with voice IVR like nice audio code and so on with Copilot Studio. So historically, if we look at how we built a bot, we crafted a bunch of hand-built topics to answer the question that we think the user are going to ask. And then we are leaving out a lot of questions unanswered because we cannot predict every single answer or every single question and what we should answer to those questions. So when we move from those bots to the new way of building bot using generative AI, the list, we still have a few topics that we want to manually build and author because we want to guide the user in very specific way. But that list is shrinking because now by pointing our bot to knowledge sources and API and using generative answer, we are able to answer many more questions for the user, even if we don't know what those questions will be. So we are really reducing the tail of question, unanswered question using generative AI and knowledge source and API connected to our Copilot. So today I want to talk in particular about generative AI in Copilot Studio, in particular three pillars. Generative answers, which is when we dynamically generate multi-turn answers based on organization content in real time. Then generative action, where we generate dialogue and take action through dynamic chaining conversation and plugins. And then finally, generative building, which is our Copilot inside a Copilot, kind of an inception principle, where it's a Copilot assistant that helps you build and modify your current Copilot. So instead of showing you slides of generative answer and generative action and generative builder, today I want to take some time to walk you through the new Copilot Studio and show you a few demos of what we can do with Copilot Studio. Yes, question? All good? All right, let me switch to my demo and we continue from there. All right. So I'm going to go to Copilot Studio. First thing you notice that on the left, we now have much more option. We used to have only Copilots or Power Virtual Agent in the past, and now we have plugins, we have prompts, and we have models. So let me just talk a little bit about what each of those is. So the plugin is basically all AI plugins, which includes prompts and model, which are a subset of a plugin. So plugin can be a Power Platform component, like a Power Automate Flow, an AI Builder prompt, or a connector, an existing connector or a custom connector. That's why you see those three filters here. But plugins can also come from OpenAI plugin. We share the same standard as OpenAI, so you can import a plugin into your Copilot Studio if you have pro developers that are able to develop OpenAI plugins. So now let's go into the prompts and the model. Prompts now are something that is company-wide. It's no longer a prompt that is sitting in one of your Power Automate Flow or in one of your Power Apps. Now we have prompt libraries, and this prompt library is actually across the entire Power Platform. So in here, I'm in Copilot Studio. I see my prompts, some that are shared with me, or maybe all prompts that come in standard with the product. But if I go to Power Automate, same thing. When I go to my AI model, here I now have prompts as well, and I can use those prompts into my Power Automate flow. So you can see here, my printer error details is also available in Power Automate. So you build your prompt once, and then you're able to reuse those prompts a little bit everywhere in the Power Platform. And what that looks like, it's just like a GPT prompt. You describe what you want the GPT model to do, and you can inject in that prompt dynamic value and soon data sources, particular data sources, into your prompt. So in here, instead of having to call an AI build Power Automate flow and then an AI builder action and then have a validation step, all of that, I can get rid of that and just crafting my prompt and sending that prompt to my Copilot or to my Power Automate flow. So in here, I can show you, I have a custom prompt where I want to use that prompt in my Copilot. And when a user has an error with his printer, I want the user to just be able to copy paste the error message. And I want with a prompt to extract certain information from that prompt so that I can use that in my Copilot or in my Power Automate flow. So in here, I'm just sending like an error message that my printer got me. And I'm using a prompt saying, okay, from that error text that is a variable now, I want to extract error code, error reason, and so forth and so on. And I ask the GPT model, can you format that in JSON following that particular schema? So if I test my prompt and I inject an error code, you can see that my AI prompt now is able to extract all that information, and now I can use that in my Copilot, or I can use that in my Power Automate flow to act on it. So a very powerful new tool that is now available a little bit everywhere.
Thank you.
Sorry, wait, yep. Okay, never mind. Keep going. Models are also the AI builder models that we can now bring directly into my Copilot. So now my Copilot can have access to text model in particular to detect sentiment or to categorize feedback or extract the most relevant and phrases from a particular message. So all of that now is brought in Copilot, and I can create my own AI model. We've seen also in the video that you can import GPTs. That's the OpenAI format of custom GPT model. That's not in my demo tenant yet, but it's coming to Copilot Studio later this year or beginning of next year. All right, so those are like the main new features into Copilot, and that's what we're going to use to extend M365 Copilot in particular. So let's open one of my Copilots. And now inside that Copilot, you can see I have an extend Microsoft Copilot feature. And in there, I can create conversational plugin. Same thing as my AI prompt. I can create I can create a description of what that conversational plugin will do, and then same as my traditional conversation design studio, I can select action, I can call an AI model, I can call Power Automate information flows to extract data. So in this case, I want to extend my M365 Copilot to retrieve product description and product name based on a product code. So I'm going to extract the product code from the user message. So I'm going to say I want to use the activity.text. For some reason, my variable is not available. Anyway, so I can retrieve the activity.text from the user and then pass that to a particular flow that will extract the value and return my product description and product name. And then I can return that to my M365 Copilot so that I can extend my M365 Copilot. I would love to be able to show you that live, but I don't have access to M365 yet in my demo tenant. So you'll have to trust my word for this one. All right, now moving on to the new features in Copilot that makes it even more exciting to create Copilot. So yes, I'm going to leave that page. So if you're familiar with Power Virtual Agent, that screen is very familiar to you. You have your topic on the right, you have your test window on the left. But I'm going to show you a little bit of the new things that are now available in Copilot Studio that goes beyond Power Virtual Agent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in my Copilot so that the Copilot knows who I am based on my Azure Active Directory user. So now it's recognized me, and I have a customized greeting. So that's great. The Copilot will greet you with your name, and then you can customize what the Copilot says. And I like to create Copilots that tell the user what they can do, because there is nothing more frustrating than opening a Copilot or a chatbot and it says, "Hey, how can I help you?" Where there are many ways of how you can help me, but I'm not sure if I ask you any question, you'll be able to answer that question. So it's good to give the user, context about what the Copilot can do or what the chatbot can do. So in here, it says I can answer a question about IT policies, expense. I am also connected to learn.microsoft.com. So connecting to learn.microsoft.com is what we call generative answer. So I can ask a question, and if there is no topic match from the right, then my bot will fall back to a generative answer into my system topic. We have a node that is called conversational boosting. And in that conversational boosting, I have multiple data sources, including learn.microsoft.com, or here I have my SharePoint site. So I can ask questions on either of them. And the bot will go to SharePoint, will go to my learn.microsoft.com website and combine all potential answers into one synthetic response and give me a citation and reference, so that if I want to click on it, it takes me to where it found the information. So that's nothing too new about that. What if I want to ask a question where the answer is not on the website or on SharePoint, but it's rather in a specific document? So now in my Copilot, I'm going to leave that page, in Generative AI menu, which is now sitting right here. Before it was in settings, now it's right there. You can upload documents. So that's one of the new features that was released just before Ignite. I think it was for the Power Platform conference. In here, you can upload many documents. I think the limit used to be 100, but they changed it to as long as you have Dataverse capacity. So you can really upload a lot of documents. Here I uploaded everyone's favorite PDF, the Power Platform licensing deck, which is about 72 pages long and in an unstructured format. So in here, I'm asking how many messages are included in the Copilot Studio license and how much does it cost? So 2 questions in one, and my Copilot is able to pull that information from the PDF and give me a citation and answer to my question. So if I click on citation here, it's getting me the extract of where it found the information in the PDF. So it didn't return the 72 pages of my PDF, but just the part that is about the licensing in my PowerPoint. We can all agree that the formatting of that pop-up could be better. The product group is absolutely working on that, but right now it's a preview, so they took some shortcuts on the formatting. So that's great. I have a fallback to a website. I have a fallback to SharePoint. I can ask questions from document. But what if I want to create a topic and I want to use a very specific data source to answer the question for the user? For example, I have a topic that is called Fidelity. Fidelity is our 401k broker at Microsoft. And in here, in my Fidelity topic, I'm also using generative AI, but I'm using a new functionality in generative AI. I'm pointing to a specific website. Just that topic is using the fidelity.com website. And I'm using a brand new custom instruction feature that is available only directly in the node of the generative answer. And in here, you can see I said, answer in a friendly and concise manner, use a bullet list, and what is a nice greeting and a happy emoji. So here, I'm going to ask a question. What's a good 401k investment? So that kind of information is somewhere on Fidelity. But what is not, and it is really custom to that answer, is that my bot gave me the answer with bullet points, just like I asked my model. And at the end, it also greeted me with something funny, like happy investing with a smiley face, exactly like I asked my model. So here, that custom instruction feature can take variables in it. You can use PowerFX formulas. So this is going to be incredibly powerful for advanced generative answer mechanism for our customers. So that's one of my favorite new feature in my bot. What if I want to connect my bot?
Sorry to cut you off. Can you come again, the generative AI part once again?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat?
Can you come again the generative AI, how you are incorporating this into the topic? Can you come again that generative AI data sources that you have added into the topic?
Yeah, so in that topic, in the generative answer node, you can see here data source. I can click edit. So here, website, I put my fidelity.com website just in that node inside that fidelity topic. So it's not used anywhere else. So if I ask a random question to my bot at the root level without going to the topic, the bot is not going to be able to answer that question. It's going to try to go to Microsoft.com and try to answer that question. So I can route the user to a specific node for a specific data source in generative AI. So all those examples are using websites or documents or SharePoint. What if you want to extend your bot using an internal knowledge base like ServiceNow? So you can see my bot has access to internal knowledge base. So if I click on knowledge base, now my bot is going to tell me, okay, I'm connected to ServiceNow. We have a ServiceNow instance with knowledge articles. What are you looking for? Okay, I have an IT question. So within ServiceNow, I can restrict my bot to only use a subset of the knowledge base. For example, I can ask, how do I set up an out-of-office signature in Outlook? I have a knowledge base dedicated to IT that my user can query. That's something that is not in a document, not on a website. It's articles that human wrote. So here it gave me a summary of the ServiceNow article, and it even gave me a link to the ServiceNow article so that if I click on it, same thing, we want to provide reference to our user to show them where the information came from, even if it's from a third-party API or third-party service. So here it takes me to ServiceNow, to that article that was used to generate that specific answer. No, I don't want to leave the page. So you can see how you can connect your Copilot to many different data sources all together, and then based on the user, what the user is asking, then you can decide to use one or the other service. So we can prioritize and route user just like that. So in my deck, we talked about generative answer, but we also talked about, I mentioned generative action. So generative action, it's a new feature that is located here in the plugin action. And generative action is great to make topic super simple. Let me show you an example. I have a ServiceNow ticket topic that I manually created to either check a ServiceNow ticket or create a new ServiceNow ticket. For that, you can see I'm zooming out on my topic. You have two branches at the beginning, one to check a topic, check an incident, check a ticket, and the one on the left to create a new ticket. So if I want to create a new ticket, I'm going to ask the user, what's your issue? How critical is it? What should I put for the title? And then ask the user to review that information. And finally, if the user is okay, call an API and create that ticket. So you can see here, it's a lot of steps, a lot of authoring, and I can make mistakes. And probably it took me, I don't know, a good 45 minutes to build that topic. And I know my way around Copilot. What plugin action does is instead of authoring that entire topic to gather all the information I need to make that API call, I can just expose that API into a plugin. So my API in this case is a Power Automate flow with 4 input parameters. So my 4 input parameters, the first one is, where is it? Required input, right there, is what's the description of the incident? So I'm explaining in natural language what the API is expecting. What is the title of the incident? What is the urgency level of the incident? And I'm giving my AI model 3 options so that it knows that ServiceNow can only understand 1, 2, or 3 for my description. And just with that, now if I go to my ServiceNow topic with my plugin, so I'm going to trigger my ServiceNow plugin. In here, it's going to ask me, provide the description of the incident ticket, but it's not going into my ticket where I manually authored that. So I'm going to say, okay, my demo environment expired last week and I need to reactivate it. So my environment ID is 123456, whatever. What's the title of your ticket? Okay, the AI is asking me second parameter to call the API. the title is going to be reactivate the environment. And then it's asking me what's the urgency level for the incident. You can see it's like understanding what are the different parameters, what are the different options for the input parameters, and phrasing something automatically for me. And here I'm saying, it's a pretty urgent request, and I'm going to tell the bot or my copilot actually change the title to urgent. Reactivate that environment, and the urgency is 1. So I changed my title, plus I gave the urgency level in 1 sentence, and my bot says, okay, here's all the information I got. Is it correct? Yes, no. And if I want to change something, I don't have to build a topic. I can just say, change the urgency. It's going to understand that, oh, I want to go back to that step. Okay, urgency is actually not so urgent. So I say, okay, it's 2. And now it updated the ticket, and when I say information is correct, I say yes. Now it's going to make a call to my ServiceNow API and return me an incident ticket that was just created by ServiceNow. So if I go to ServiceNow now here, I have a brand new incident ticket that was created at 9:35 just right now. And it's those are my tests from yesterday. I have my new ticket that was created. So that plugin, just surfacing that plugin into that API, so my Power Automate flow, into a plugin action, makes the topic that was very complex for my ServiceNow ticket just 1 single node. So here's just, I'm calling a plugin action, and the trigger is that phrase. So I went from 15 different steps to just calling 1 plugin action, and the plugin action is doing all the conversation for me to create that ticket. So pretty amazing feature. The last feature I want to talk about.
Sorry, can I ask you a question about that real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
So I saw you ask it to log in earlier. Does it pass that through to ServiceNow, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I asked to log in because I want my user to be authenticated in the different system that I'm using. ServiceNow does not allow me to create a ticket as an unknown user or anonymous user. So when I'm calling my Power Virtual Agent flow, I need to send my user ID so that it match the one that exists in ServiceNow. So I am authenticated when I make that call to the ServiceNow API.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. And it would be the same if I want to ask a question on SharePoint. I need to be authenticated on my Copilot, because SharePoint requires to know who you are, to know which document you have access to, which is something that is different from the regular generative AI, where I can just upload a document. Here, permission doesn't matter. As long as I put a document here, any user that have access to my Copilot can ask a question on that document. But if my Copilot points to SharePoint, then I need to be authenticated, because I want to have the credential, the permission, and the role that my user has, so that I can surface the right information in SharePoint. Last part of the demo, you can see here at the top, our copilots are now multilingual. It used to be different in the past. We used to create different bots for different language. Here, my copilot speaks 2 languages. He's also fluent in French. I don't know why. And in here, I can just click and download the JSON of all the topics and all the phrases of my bot that was created in English. I can translate everything in French. So now when I switch to French in here and I refresh my bot, now my bot speaks in French, because I translated some of the topics and key phrases that I wanted to translate. And so the language, how is it defined? When you connect to the Copilot or to a website or to the chatbot, basically we are going to look at your web browser language. So if your web browser is set in English, the bot will automatically switch to English. If it's set in another language and that language is supported, the bot will automatically switch to that particular language. And in here, it's pretty cool. I changed the description or the greeting of my bot in French, but if I ask a question in French, I also configured my generative AI topic in my conversational boosting. I also configured it to take in account the French version of learn.microsoft.com. So here in my data source, you can see I have a formula that says if the system user language is French, then switch to the French version of learn.microsoft.com. So it's pretty powerful, because right here, all my citation, if I click on it, they are pointing to the French version of the website. So they are not just translating it on the fly and potentially making mistake in the translation. It's directing the user to the right language of your website. So pretty cool. All right, so lots of new concepts here. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions at the end. So I'm going to go back to my presentation, wrap up that, and then we can ask. We can have some Q&A if you want. 1 second. Oh, there you go. Moving back to my deck, and I think the next slide is actually a question. Let me pull that. All right, there we go. I hope you see my screen now. All right, so first question. Second question, sorry. Thank you, David. What are the main features or capabilities that you look for in a chatbot creation tool? So now I've showed you a little bit what is possible with Copilot Studio. You can see it's pretty amazing. What are the key features that you're looking for? Is it easy to use? The quality of the conversation, the integration? You can see I can integrate it with many different systems, or maybe other topics. So feel free to drop that in the chat. So in the demo, I quickly touch base on Copilot for M365. So Copilot in M365, it leverages large language model, the Graph API, all the Microsoft 365 apps, and also the internet to answer your question. So this Copilot is sitting in many different places, M365 chat, in Teams, in Outlook, and so on. So this Copilot is everywhere. But if you want to extend that Copilot, you can click on a button, click on Extend Copilot, and then it takes you to the Copilot Studio where you can author that Copilot. So let me show you what it looks like with a quick video. All right, so yeah, you saw how easy it is to extend a first-party Copilot like M365 Copilot. One click, you open the studio, you craft your conversational plugin using Power Automate, Gen AI, and basic messages. You transform that information, and then you send it back to the M365 Copilot or the first-party Copilot, and then you ask again the question, and instantly it's going to trigger that specific plugin and give the answer to your end user. So other question, what are some of the use case or custom scenarios that you would like to use Microsoft Studio, Copilot Studio for? For example, like customer service or customer support, sales and marketing, education, training, IT support. We've seen many different use cases. RFP bot, it's a great idea. Those copilots can be extended however you want, and they can fit in your enterprise or outside of your enterprise, however you want to create them. So for me, it's an infinite number of use cases. So I'm glad to see many different use cases popping up on our World Cloud right there. Thank you. All right, let's talk about something other than M365 Copilot, because I've said you can extend M365 Copilot, but I also mentioned other first-party copilots. The first one that is new, that was announced at Ignite, is Copilot for Service. This one is incredibly smart. You deploy that Copilot for your customer agent wherever they do their work, and you extend that Copilot with your knowledge-based APIs, documents, data sources, SharePoint site, all of that really simply with a configuration flow workflow in the bot, where you can quickly add. I think we support out of the box 5 or 6 different services like knowledge, ServiceNow, Zendesk, Dynamics, obviously. So you can connect all of that. An agent can either chat with the Copilot if they are on the phone with a customer, or if they are chatting with a customer, they can ask with their voice question to the Copilot, and the Copilot will give them an answer, or they can even listen to the conversation you have with a customer, extract the information, and automatically suggest information that are matching the customer question before the agent even starts answering back to the customer. So it's great because it gives the right knowledge and a simple tool to a customer agent that may be new to their role and are not as good as more senior customer agent, and they have all of that at their fingertip where they work without replacing any of the existing infrastructure or systems that they are currently using. We are just supplementing them with a new tool that makes their life easier and that makes it faster to answer a customer question. The second Copilot that we can extend is the Copilot in Power Apps. This one has been in the work for a while, so you might have seen already that this was possible, but now it's much more robust, much more powerful. So you can create an app. In that app, you drop a Copilot component, you point it to an existing chatbot, or you create a new Copilot bot, and you can put website just like you do in a Copilot. And then you can also customize that Copilot to only use the Dataverse table that is sitting behind your app. Earlier today, I mentioned that the bot is aware of the context of the app, so it knows that if you're using a particular table in Dataverse, then if I ask you a question, then use that Dataverse table to answer the user, because you're sitting within that app that is based on a particular Dataverse table. Of course, you can extend that Copilot using Power Automate flows and other manually authored topics, just like you would do for any other regular Copilot. And same thing for Power Page. You can now embed a Copilot on your Power Page, and same thing, it's based on your design, on your website, so it knows your website content automatically, and it's also connected to the Dataverse table that are behind your Power Page website. Does it integrate for Canvas and model-driven app? Canvas app for sure, model-driven app. Yes, I want to say a mistake. My team will probably confirm, but yes, it does work for both model-driven app and Power Apps. Scream at me if I'm wrong, Jeff, or the rest of the team.
No, you're
thank
right.
you. All right. Yeah, I remember we tried the model-driven app a while ago, and at the beginning it was not too good. Now they fixed it, and now I think it's working much better. So other poll question. How likely are you going to try Copilot Studio in the next 6 months? After Ignite, we saw a spike in interest for trial in Copilot Studio. I expect that many of you here today are kind of interested in playing with it and see what you can accomplish. Who already have a plan to try Copilot Studio or need help to dive in Copilot Studio? If that's the case, if you want to have a deeper dive, a session with us here on the Power Platform Technical Specialist team, feel free to reach out after the webinar. We'll be happy to spend an hour or two with you to understand your use case and guide you how you can accomplish that with Copilot Studio. All right, last 10 minutes. I have a few more slides, and then we can take question and have some discussion. I said earlier that that platform is connected to the rest. So yeah, if we go back to that initial slide, that's the one I want you to remember. Microsoft Copilot Studio is sitting on all the Azure infrastructure and Power Platform interconnection. And on top of it, you have all your first-party Copilot and custom Copilot. So now Microsoft Copilot Studio is more than just a Power Virtual Agent. It's really the layer that extends and customize the first-party Copilot and allows you to build your own custom Copilot. One of that example is the prompt building. You have one now single interface to build, design, and test your generative prompt because we realize that prompts are super important. At the beginning, one of my colleagues, Nico, here on the call, was saving all his prompts because he wanted to reuse those prompts over and over again in different flows, in different apps. Now you don't need to do that, Nico. You can just use the prompt building tool, save all your prompts. You can share those prompts with your colleague, so you can send that to me. Hello, so I can use those prompts in my flows, in my apps, and I don't have to reinvent them. So if you have a good prompt that is working great for a Power Automate flow, now you can share that with the rest of your team. And of course, you can keep extending Copilot with Azure. You can integrate new custom language understanding from Azure Cognitive Service. You can bring your own knowledge base with Azure Question. You can connect your Copilot to Azure Cognitive Search and Azure OpenAI Studio if you want to do some complex search. You can bring your own generative AI capability, so you can pick your model. You can pick how you want to index your data. If you want to go with semantic index, I think soon we have vector indexing coming in Azure OpenAI, and you will be able to publish that generative AI API directly into Copilot and use that in your Copilot. And finally, Automation Studio. We now have process mining. I don't know if all of you are aware that now Power Automate comes with process mining. It's a way to identify bottlenecks and opportunities for automation. And that process mining works natively with Copilot Studio. So you can point the process mining to your Copilot, and it will go through all the topics and all the logic and see what topics are the most triggered, which one are creating a bottleneck for the users. Maybe some questions are unanswered, and the process mining will understand that. And it can even suggest what topic to create or how you can modify the automation behind a topic to make it more robust and more efficient. And finally, now the Automation Studio can connect to cloud flows, but now can connect to desktop flow. And I've played with it recently in an article that I wrote. Now you can have your Copilot in the cloud where you can chat, for example, an IT support Copilot. You can say, okay, I cannot connect to my web portal. And the Copilot says, okay, you need to clear your cookie and clear the cache of your browser. That's a very common thing to ask your user to do when they cannot access a particular web app. Now it takes even further, because from the Copilot, you can trigger a desktop automation to do that for the user. So if the user doesn't know how to clear cache of its web browser, it can just click on the link from Copilot, and it will trigger an RPA process, take control of their computer, do all the technical manipulation, and then hand it back to Copilot. And Copilot will simply ask, did it fix your issue? Yes or no? If not, then maybe we can create a ticket to IT support. So now we can have a deeper integration of our Copilot, even with desktop flows. Missing, oh, there we go. So let's say many of you said, okay, we are interested in using Copilot in the next 6 months. We are excited about it. What if you have some challenge? What would stop you from using Copilot Studio? Is it a concern about AI? Is it a cost or budget constraint? Is it because it's too technical? I don't think so, but maybe compatibility issue or other topics. So feel free to drop us some ideas of what could be the challenge for you to adopt Copilot Studio in the next 6 months. So thank you for your feedback on that. And then we have 5 more minutes, so I'm going to throw that poll question and open the mic, open the floor to anyone. The last question is, what do you want to see in the next master series? Today we are covering Copilot. What we want to see in the next one? More something around Copilot and AI, new features on the Power Platform roadmap, maybe success stories and use cases from other organizations. Security and governance. I know Chris Simmons is a big fan of that topic, or maybe how to build a community of practice around the Power Platform. So feel free to give us some ideas, because we are here for you. We are doing this series to help you adopt the Power Platform, realize value with the Power Platform. So if you have some great ideas and you want to talk more about that, drop that in our poll. We'll be happy to reach back out and maybe plan the next session on one of those topics. I see Copilots in general and other AI capabilities is leading the chart. So yeah, we can definitely talk about the rest of the Copilot and the rest of the AI capability. We have a lot of things coming up on the roadmap for 2024. I'm sure we'll have the occasion to have much more discussion. All right, we have 5 more minutes, right on time. I haven't had the time to read all the chat and all the questions. So if someone wants to come out of mute and ask a question, or if one of my colleagues wants to read some of the question, let's do that.
I will say, Remy, there's a lot of healthy discussion in the chat. Some stuff getting answered on the fly, some stuff probably queued up for follow-ups and deep dives with us. But yeah, if anyone wants to come off mute and ask a question, maybe a new one, or follow up something that was mentioned previously in the chat, feel free to.
Well, I was working through a licensing question. Oh, go ahead, Jana.
So should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. First of all, thanks to me. Thanks. It was a great discussions in those presentations. You'll learn lots of things over there. We started with PBA. Now it's a good features about the Copilot. It's really give insights and lots of things over there. So from my perspective, from my organization perspective, we're thinking about we're actually basically looking about some generative AI concept where our data sources will be multiple sources, not stick to one data source or dataverse or data lake, multiple sources, and where the generative AI, how that can play around to export this info, whether it will be a document, or that will be a contract, or that will be a sentiment analysis, or that will be a LLP, LLM, those kind of features, that can be added into this features. That will be more interesting about to build this kind of Copilot stuff. I'm looking forward to learn that generative AI with the Copilot. That's on my next probably couple of months. That's my view.
Yeah, that's great. You can create a trial of Copilot. It's free. You can have 30 days, and you can even renew that to have more days. If you want to create a Copilot trial, you will have access to all the features. Everything that I showed today, it's available in the trial tenant. So you can create plugins, you can customize your prompt, you can change the language, all of that. You can try that for free. So feel free to play with it, Jana. It's a great idea, I think, to get your feet wet and hands-on the product. We also have some resources to get you started. So here are some blogs, some demo, the FAQ. There is some great community page for Copilot. If you have any question, you can go to that community, ask question. I go there almost every week to answer everybody's question and see what are the different trends and requests from the field. And if you want to have like a deeper dive with an instructor, we also offer Copilot in a day. I think it used to be called PVA in a day. Now they are rebranding it, of course, with Copilot in a day and adding all the new features. The course is not yet ready, but I know the product team is working on that new Copilot in a day program, so you can learn all the new capabilities in one day, either offline or with an instructor. So keep an eye out for that new Copilot in a day session.
Yeah, I'll probably set up some time with the team separately, to move it forward. How my organizations will be taking forward this Copilot stuff. It's pretty interesting for me in the site. Okay, yeah, I'll take it forward this in the next level. Right.
All right. Thank you.
Remy, I know you talked to licensing previously. I think maybe one last thing to maybe shout out is if your organization has investments in or has invested in Power Virtual Agents, which obviously we've expanded into Copilot Studio, but you're very keen to start leveraging these generative AI capabilities, please reach out to your Microsoft account team because you will need new licensing to leverage the generative AI capabilities coming up in the near future. We have programs in place to make that seamless and as painless as possible. There's good ways to sort of switch from one to the other. But please reach out to your Microsoft account team so that we can get ahead of that and facilitate that and make that transition as smooth as possible.
Yeah, thanks, David. I see a few questions for my fellow French people. When generative AI will be available in France and at large in Europe and the rest of the world? So like Chris said, we are rolling out new data centers with new GPUs to be able to handle the AI workload. France is on the list. EU, they've released some capabilities in the EU. France is next. I heard it's early December, so if you look at your calendar, we are a few days, maybe a week or so out until it's available in France. I don't have an exact date yet, but I heard early December for AI capabilities of Copilot. All right, that's time, everyone. Thank you all for attending this master series today. It's been a pleasure having you and talking with you. Look out for the next one. We'll have to decide what the topic is. I don't know, Jeff, if we already decide what's the next topic. Maybe we did. Forgot.
We're going to be taking a pause for the rest of the calendar year. We've got some stuff lined up for December, but not exactly a session. And we'll be picking up in January.
Awesome. So we'll see everyone in 2024 for the first 2024 episode of the Master Series. Maybe we'll do something around AI and Copilot and Dataverse, all of that. Thank you all. The recording will be stopped, and we'll share that with you, and I can share the deck as well if you want to.
Yep, I'll be sending out a copy of the recording and the deck probably sometime tomorrow morning to everybody. So keep an eye out for an email from me.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Remy. Thanks, everyone.